Hey guys, how's it going? I'm back again for another video. Today I'm going to do some of the underrated games in my collection. There's so many games out, and there's so many that are underrated. I really wanted to show some of the games that I personally like a lot, and I think that not a lot of people know about. So I wanted to get a little info out on some of these games, and here we go. So the first I'm going to start off with some handheld games. This first one is a Game Boy Color game, and it was the first Game Boy Color game that I got. And that's Shadowgate Classic. There it is right there. This game was, I believe, a Nintendo game. I believe Shadowgate was actually a Nintendo game at first. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me on that. But this is the first Game Boy Color game that I had. I had the original Game Boy, and popping this into the Game Boy Color was really cool because it showed how much of an improvement that Game Boy Color was. And it really was a big improvement. So, basically it's a point-and-click game. It's kind of an adventure, puzzle, around that genre, a little bit of mix of everything. It was really cool. It's basically just a straightforward point-and-click kind of game on the Game Boy. But it's definitely worth a check out if you're a fan of point-and-click games. It's not the best game ever, but I do think it's worth a check out. Next game is a Game Gear game. Now guys, if you have a Game Gear and you don't have this game, it's a pretty common game. But if you have a Game Gear and you don't have this game, you need to check it out ASAP. That's X-Men, right there. X-Men is an awesome game. It's a really basic, really straightforward game. It's kind of like a platformer, kill all the guys, collect stuff type of thing. And it's set in the X-Men universe. Has, you know, Storm and Nightcrawler and all those guys in it. So it's definitely worth a check out if you don't have it. I 100% recommend this game for you to check out. It's so worth it. Alright, my final handheld game is something that's actually been on multiple consoles, but I actually only have it for the Atari Lynx, actually, if you can believe that. So that game is California Games. See that right there? California Games. It's basically a little collection of mini-games. It doesn't have that many, it's only like 4 or 5. But it's a really cool game. It has like surfing and biking and hacky sack and stuff. But all the games are really fun. You know, the surfing, you just have to jump up in the air and do tricks and stuff. And hacky sack, you keep the hacky sack up and you get points for it and stuff. But it's really basic, but it's a really fun game. This is probably the only game I enjoyed out of my small library of Atari Lynx games when I had it growing up. But now that I've learned to enjoy the Lynx a little more, I definitely think this is one of my favorites on the Lynx. So there that is. That's Atari Lynx's California Games. I know it's on a couple other systems, so go check it out either way. It's definitely worth it. Alright, moving on to some consoles now, some home consoles. I'll start with the Sega Genesis, and I'm going to start off with a game that's based after a movie, and that's Aladdin. There it is right there, Aladdin. Aladdin's an awesome game, and it really is a fun game. Even to this day, I still play it. I've heard that the Sega Genesis Aladdin and the Super Nintendo Aladdin are two different games. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Let me know if it is. But I've only ever played the Sega Genesis game, and that's probably one of my favorite games on the Genesis, if you can believe that. It's a wicked fun game. It's a blast to play. It's pretty basic. You get to like throw apples and stuff, and use your sword and beat the guards and stuff like that. It has like 1 or 2 mini games too, I believe, in it, and it's really cool. I definitely recommend checking it out if you don't have it and you have a Genesis. Alright, the next game I have on Genesis is something that I don't know how to pronounce. I'm going to say it's Truxton, or Truxton, one of the two. It's a shoot 'em up, top-down shooter game. You get a plane. It's along the lines of like Sophie and those type of games. You know, so you get your ship and you get to collect, I think it's like 5 or 6 different weapons. You know, like regular lasers, like a light beam. You get missiles and stuff like that. Excuse me. So it's a really good game. I'm a huge fan of top-down shooters, so this is probably one of my favorite Genesis games. I love top-down shooters. I think they're so much fun. This is a really challenging game, though. So to be expected with top-down shooters. A lot of them are pretty hard. But this is a pretty hard game. It's wicked fun, though. Definitely recommend it if you're a top-down shooter fan. Alright, the next is on Nintendo 64. This is a game that I think a lot of people do know about. But I think it's worth mentioning for the people that don't know it. My copy's a little beat up. It has writing on it and stuff, so don't mind that. But the game is Hybrid Heaven. Awesome game, and I love this game. It's so much fun. I kind of associate it with a combination of a Final Fantasy and like a wrestling game almost. It's so cool. Basically, from what I remember, I don't remember much of it, but I remember walking around a factory. You get like a little gun, and there's, you know, machines, little robots following you. They shoot lasers at you and stuff, and you have to kill them. But then you actually go in some rooms where there'll be guys waiting for you, and almost like a Final Fantasy game, you know, the battle music comes on, the screen, you know, gets all like jaded and stuff, and then you enter this battle, and it basically turns into a wrestling match. It's awesome. It's you know, you can punch, you can kick, you can do like wrestling moves almost. I think there's like scoop slams and like power bombs and stuff. It's such an awesome game. I'm a big wrestling game fan, so I think maybe that's why I like it so much. But if you have a Nintendo 64 and you've never tried this game, I definitely say borrow it from a friend or something. It's worth a try. You may not like it, but it's definitely worth a try at least. You don't have to go buy it, but just check it out. It's definitely worth it. Alright, these next two games, if you watched my PlayStation collection video, I touched on them a little. I got a PlayStation 1 game here and a PlayStation 2 game that I wanted to let some people know about. The first game is Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles. Made by LucasArts, obviously. PlayStation 1 game. It's a lot of fun. Basically, you get to choose from one of 5 characters. You got Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Adi Gallia, and Plo Koon, who is the sponge-looking yellow Jedi. Basically, it's kind of like a platform. You run around, you jump around, you get your lightsaber, and you have to fight, like, you know, battle droids and not Mace Windu, Darth Maul, and stuff like that. You have to fight just giant robot bosses and stuff like that. If you're a Star Wars fan and you haven't played this, check it out. If you're not, I'd say it's worth a check out, but at the same time, it can get really frustrating. It's a bit of a glitchy game. Some of the jumps are terrible, so at least be warned going in that this game can get you frustrated and you might throw your controller once or twice. But if you're a Star Wars fan, it's definitely worth a check out. And if you have friends, you can play this like two-player co-op, which is wicked fun. That's what I always played when I was growing up and playing this. Me and my friends, my cousin would play this, and it's still a game that I enjoy playing now. So definitely check this out if you like Star Wars, or if you want some two-player co-op fun. It's definitely worth it. Alright, my final game is a PlayStation 2 game made by Squaresoft. It was in the very end of my Part 2 video that I mentioned it, and that is The Bouncer. This game, if you're gonna check out one game in this whole list, I'd say this is the game. Just because it's such a fun game. I really enjoy it. It's just a beat 'em up. It's really simple. It's a quick game. The storyline is not that long at all, but the beat 'em up is really cool. You know, you get a couple characters to fight alongside, and you can upgrade your combos as you gain experience throughout the levels and stuff. They have a versus mode at the end of the game. Excuse me, not even at the end of the game. I think you can play it right off the bat, but you have to unlock more characters as you go. So it's a really awesome game. It's really simple. There's not much to it, but the upgradable combos and stuff like that is really cool. It's a really cool premise, and it's made by Squaresoft. So if you're a Squaresoft fan or a Final Fantasy fan, it's not like Final Fantasy at all. So if you want to check out something different by Squaresoft, this is the game to check out. I definitely recommend it. Like I said, if you pick one game out of all the games that I showed you, definitely check this one out. It's so worth it, and not a lot of people have it. It's really cheap. I remember getting it at GameStop a couple of months ago for like $10 maybe, I want to say, maybe cheaper. It's not rare at all, so it's a really good game. I definitely recommend it. Check it out, and that's it. Alright guys, that's the end of some of my underrated games that I have in my collection. Let me know if you guys have any underrated games. I'm always open to suggestions, and I'd like to hear some of the games that you guys think are awesome that not a lot of people know about. Even if a lot of people do know about it, some game that you haven't seen in a lot of collections and stuff. There's a ton of underrated games out there. There's a ton of good games out there. So let me know what you got, and I'd definitely be willing to check some of that stuff out. But that is it, guys. Thanks for watching another one of my videos, and hopefully I'll have another one up soon.